What's going on, everyone? In this video, we're gonna be doing another Bay Area real estate market update. This is for July of 2021. So if you haven't seen the progression of how the market has been doing, definitely check out our series over here. The real estate market has been insane for the past few months, and every single month it's just been going up and up and up and up. So I'm excited to go over this data today to see if the market has continued to trend upwards or if the market is starting to cool down and if we're starting to see a reversion back to normalcy. In this video, we're going to be going over data for Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, San Francisco County, Alameda County, and Contra Costa County, basically encompassing the Bay Area. We're going to go through both single-family houses and condos and townhouses to see the difference between the two markets and to see if now's a great time to buy or sell a property or if we should wait. All right, so let's start off with Santa Clara County. Again, this data is taken straight from the MLS. We're using MLS listings to grab our data. So the first thing we're going to do is look at residential single-family homes in Santa Clara County and looking at the average days on month to sale to list price ratio. So it looks like there was a huge spike in our percentage of sales to list price ratio in Santa Clara County in the month of June. There's a lot of talk of people saying that the market has slowed down in June, but this doesn't look like it. It shot up from 110% to 118%. So for those of you who are new and haven't seen data like this before, these are the statistics that real estate agents and real estate investors use to determine if a market is healthy or not. DOM stands for days on market, and this metric tells us how long it takes for an average property that gets put on the market to go pending or contingent, which means that someone actually put an offer and the seller accepts it. So in this case, the average dropped from 13 days to 12 days. So that's less than 2 weeks. In less than 2 weeks, on average for all the properties in Santa Clara County, the property will have an offer on it. But more interestingly, this number right here at 118%. So this sales price to list price ratio means that if you listed a property for $1 million, on average, the property will actually sell for $1.18 million, 18% above your asking price. And as you can see, this is a lot higher than normal. Usually, we're at 100%, 102%, and then it went up to 110%, and then it skyrocketed to 118%. This is a key sign that the market is still hot. People are offering way over asking, and now we have an average of 118%. If we look at the months of inventory here and we look at the actual data itself, we can see that it has an average of 0.8 months. So this means that if there were no new properties that were put on the market today, and if properties kept selling at the same rate that they're selling now, then in less than 1 month or 0.8 months, we will have sold out of all of our inventory, and then there will be no more houses to buy in Santa Clara County. Again, usually if the months of inventory are below 3 months, then we're going to be in a seller's market. Under 1 month, we're in a super seller's market. So the seller has all the cards and they can do whatever they want. All right, if we look at this number for number of homes for sale versus sold, the red bars signify the properties that are active. So there are 989 properties that you can buy in Santa Clara County, and there are 1,293 homes that were actually sold and closed. Usually we have a little bit more actives than there are solds, and this signifies like a balance of the market. Here, when you have more properties sold than there are actives, that means there's just no supply. There are more properties that are being closed than new properties being put on the market. So because you have this lack of supply, prices increase. And we've seen that this market has been crazy ever since March, where you have this inversion of this red and green graphs. If we look at the sales price over time, we can see that the average price in Santa Clara County has skyrocketed from $2.021 million to $2.238 million. So it's gone up by about 10% in 1 month. This is not sustainable growth. But if you were a flipper and you bought your property way back here in February and now it's time to put it on the market here in June, you're making an absolute killing. This is a crazy market to be in. It's gonna be kind of scary, not gonna lie, if you're gonna be buying at this peak of the market because it might go down back to where it was, here in January. But if you are selling, now's a great time to sell. All right, so now we're gonna look at townhouses and condos in Santa Clara County and seeing how they're performing. So it looks like the condo and townhouse market is doing a little bit better than it did last month, but definitely not as crazy as the single family market. It looks like the sales to list price ratio has gone up by about 0.5%, and the average days on market has gone down from 20 days to 18 days. Okay, looking at number of homes for sale versus sold, we see we have 610 properties that were sold and 552. So again, this inversion, we have more properties that were sold versus the ones that are active. Signifies that there is more demand, but it's definitely not as crazy as it was for the single family properties. And if we check out the months inventory, we can see that things have remained pretty stable at 0.9 months. Let's check out sales price over time. And we can see that it has increased. So it's at almost $1 million on average, higher than it was last month. So from 966 to 993. So it's up by, about 4% or so. Nothing too crazy, but at least there's an increase in the condo and townhouse market. So condos in Santa Clara County in general are pretty stable. They're just slowly increasing over time. All right, let's check out San Mateo County. Single family houses. All right, so looking at single family houses in San Mateo County, we can see that the market has increased just a little bit. So now we're at around 110.5%, up from last month's slump of 109.2. So it went a little bit lower, and back here when the price was up and then the price went a little bit down, people thought, oh, is the market starting to turn? But that's obviously not the case because the market has increased again. We went from 18 days on market to 14 days on market. So it looks like San Mateo is recovering, right? We are pretty hot still, 110%. In this case, San Mateo County is more expensive than Santa Clara County too. So these are probably $2 million plus properties. And in this case, for $2 million, 110% means that you're selling it for $2.2 million instead of the $2 million that you're asking for. All right, looking at the graph for number of homes for sale versus sold, we still have this inversion here too. So we have more properties being sold than we do have actives. Looking at the months of inventory. Months of inventory have remained pretty stable. So 1.1 to 0.9, 0.9. Earlier this year, San Mateo is pretty scary at 2 months or 1.5 months, which is definitely more than what you see in other parts of the Bay Area. And let's check out sales prices over time. Don't worry about this number. This is because this is the 1st of July. So property has recorded already and the average is now like at 4.3 million. That's not going to be the case for the whole month. So let's look at these two numbers. It's went up from 2.48 to 2.628. So now let's look at the condo and townhouse statistics for San Mateo County. So it looks like the condo and townhouses have decreased a little bit in average sales to list price ratio, but the days on market have also decreased. So it only takes 19 days to sell your condo. And this is crazy because last year it took a lot longer to sell your condos in San Mateo County. And the sales to list price ratio was down at 1% or under 100%. So you would actually get less than what you offered for it. So let's look at the number of homes for sale versus sold. We still have more properties that are listed than we do have being sold. So less demand of condos in San Mateo County. All right, check out the months of inventory. We're at 1.3 months. And looking at sales price over time, we can see that the sales price here has gone down a little bit on average compared to where it was last month in May. So it was 1.082, now it's at 1.068. But see, if y'all bought back here in January, you would have made $200,000 if you held within this short time frame. Okay, next let's go to San Francisco County. And let's check out their single family home market. So San Francisco has been doing pretty good. Average days on market have decreased from 19 days to 17 days. And your average sales to list price ratio is at around 116%. So it went down a little bit, but it's still pretty good. But this is pretty cool, huh? Even though the statistics on this one look bad, right? We have a lot more active properties than we do homes for sale. It seems like people are still bidding on properties in San Francisco and people aren't really getting a discount. So let's look at the months of inventory, how long it takes to sell all the properties in SF. 1.5 months, so still not the best, but definitely better than where it was back in January, where it was 3 months on average. And back in May, it was 3.4 and 4.4 from last year. People were thinking that no one would ever live in San Francisco ever again, but that's obviously not the case. We have people bidding over 16% over asking to live in a house in SF. Let's look at the sales price over time to see if it's grown or decreased. So for June, it has increased by a little bit too. So from 2.475 to 2.521. That's a little under $50,000, but still not too bad, considering that people are going to leave SF forever and never come back. Let's look at the condo and townhouse market for San Francisco. So it looks like the average sales to list price ratio has remained the same at 106%. And right here, it went up 1 day. So instead of 32 days, it's now 33 days. So it looks like we're at 2.5 months of inventory here. But yeah, look at this. A lot of inventory, but not a lot of buyers for San Francisco condos and townhouses. So, arguably, it could still be a good deal to buy a condo. Not as good as where it was last year, where this was going on, but still, probably not too bad, especially if you plan on holding on to a long term. If we look at the data for sales price over time, again, don't worry about this number because this is a bug. It's the first day of July, so there's probably only one closing, and it must have been at $2 million. But it looks like the market has increased by about 10 grand, from 1.395 to 1.406. So it's increased by a little bit. But it looks like it's barely hitting the high of last year at 1.383. So it could still be a good time to buy a condo in SF. All right, next up, let's look at Alameda County. Alameda County has been on fire consistently since the beginning of the year. This low point here is 108%. So now it goes up and up and up and up and up, and now we're at 118%, similar to where we are at Santa Clara County. Average days on market have been flirting between 11 and 12 days, but again, this is less than 2 weeks. So this is doing pretty crazy. Let's check out number of homes for sale versus sold. All right, check out number of homes for sale versus sold. As you can see, lots of green here, very little red. Everyone is trying to buy homes in Alameda County. It's more affordable. Your commute's a little bit longer traditionally, but now with COVID and the potential to work from home, it doesn't matter to them, right? People are saying, I don't mind living 1 or 2 hours away from work if I only have to go in the office, once or twice a week. So you can get more bang for your buck in Alameda County, and that's usually why you have more properties being sold here than in other parts of the Bay Area. If we look at the months of inventory, we can see that we're at 0.7 months. So again, very hot market. And let's see the sales price over time. Sales price has increased to 1.409, up from 1.384. And if you think about it, Alameda County isn't that great, but here we are at $1.4 million on average. Nuts. All right, let's go to condos and townhouses in Alameda County. All right, we go to condos and townhouses in Alameda County. We see that the sales to list price ratio has increased a little bit to over 107%, and our days on market have decreased to 15 days on market. If we look at the number of homes for sale versus sold, I guess there's a little bit of inversion here where you have more properties on sale than you have sold. So that's something to keep in mind. If we look at the months of inventory, it's about the same. 0.9. It's gone up a little bit to 1.1. So maybe there's a slight market cool down in the condo market for Alameda County. And if we look at the sales price over time, we can see that the market has still increased by a little bit, from $745K to $764K. All right, and finally, we're gonna go through Contra Costa County's single family market and townhouse market. What is this? Okay, this must be a mistake. There's no way this is real. 200% average? I highly doubt this. Sometimes you get numbers and you have to think this is BS. They're telling us that in June, the average sales to list price ratio is 200% of listing, which means that if someone listed their property for $500K, it's sold for $1 million. I want you guys to let me know how the market in Contra Costa County is doing. If you're a real estate agent or if you're a buyer in the area, have people actually been putting in offers that are twice the sales price? I don't think so. I think this number is BS. This is the number they're reporting, and they're usually accurate. But again, sometimes we have issues, and I don't believe this number. I think this number is just too way out of whack. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. The average days to sell is 12 days. All right, looking at the months of inventory, 0.7. So the market is a little bit less liquid than it was before, but as you've seen, this is by far the hottest market compared to everyone else. Everyone else was at 0.9, 1.1. Here we are at 0.7. All right, looking at number of homes for sale versus sold. Again, greens all the way. More properties being sold, and there just isn't enough supply for people who want to buy homes in Contra Costa County. So the market is very hot there. Wow, looking at the sales price over time. They're telling us that the average is $2 million in Contra Costa County. Again, I don't know. I have no idea. Is this real or not? Maybe there's only like 2 homes that were sold last month and they all went for double the price. Maybe that's what happened. But I have a hard time believing that on average, the entire market sold an average of $1.994 million. You guys let me know. Is this number real or is this BS? Again, it's not my data. I'm getting this straight from the MLS. So maybe there's something weird going on here. If you guys know what it is, definitely let me know down in the comments below too. Okay, condos and townhouses for Contra Costa County. Okay, so for condos and townhouses in Contra Costa County, we have an average sale to list price ratio above $1.5 million, and average days on market of 15 days. So still pretty good. If we look at the number of homes for sale or sold, we have more properties that were sold than are active. Checking out the months of inventory, we have 0.8 months, and our average price has decreased by a little bit from $644K on average to $642K. Not too bad, it's basically remained flat. So there's the Bay Area real estate market update. We went over the data for Santa Clara County, San Mateo County, San Francisco County, Alameda County, and Contra Costa County. Based on my data and based on my analysis, the market is still very hot. There's a lot of talk about the market crashing. There's a lot of talk about buyer fatigue and how people are no longer getting 40 offers. They're now only getting 20 offers. And of course, I think over time, the market will trend back downwards, but who knows when that's going to be. And who knows if when it goes back down, if it's going to be at the same level as it is now. I know for a fact here in Milpitas, I have a neighbor who sold their home for around $1.2 million. Down the street by a little bit, someone is putting their home on the market for $1.65 million. To me, it's insane because I never imagined that Milpitas would be a market with a $1.6 million home, let alone one that's in my direct neighborhood. So the real question is now a good time to buy a home? I think a lot of factors have to go into your decision here. So one, if you were to buy a home now at the peak of the market, then obviously you're gonna be paying the highest price and you're gonna be competing with a lot of other people for the same home. Now there's some disadvantages here. Besides paying a high price, your property taxes are also aligned with that higher price. So over the next few years, decades even, you're gonna be paying a higher basis from day one. Now on the other hand, the market can continue going up and we don't know when it's gonna stop. So if you don't buy now, maybe you have to buy even higher a year later. And interest rates are really low now, so you can lock in a low interest rate loan and then make sure your payments are pretty reasonable. In the future, interest rates might go up, so we don't know what that's going to be. In general, when interest rates go up, prices come down too, the market softens, and then people don't want to buy houses anymore. People think housing in the Bay Area is done for, and then 2 or 3 years later, the market increases like crazy. Again, as an anecdotal evidence, when I bought this home here, the appraised value was for around $650,000. At the time, I thought that was a lot of money. Most people couldn't afford it, and I was glad to be able to buy this home. But over the years, we've seen many increases in price, a lot of slowdowns, a lot of people saying that the market would crash. And yes, it did slow down during some points, but overall the trend has gone upwards. And now the average value here is around $1.25 million. So just by holding on to these properties over a 6-year period, I've gained over $600,000 in equity. I had nothing to do with it. There were no smarts here. I just bought and lived in this home. So you guys can do the same thing. You guys can find a property as long as you're able to make the monthly payments and it makes sense to you. Could be a good idea to just buy a house. Not every deal needs to be a slam dunk deal where you have, zero cost of living expenses because your house hacking every room. Sometimes you can just buy a house, enjoy it, and live in it. In my own personal opinion, I think the market is still a little bit too hot. I would prefer to wait until maybe mid-July or early August, possibly find a property before Labor Day weekend. The market in the Bay Area typically is very, very hot during the springtime until around this whole July 4th weekend area, and then it cools down a little bit during the summer while people are on vacation and not really looking for homes. Then it picks back up again during the fall, and then it cools down a lot during the winter. So actually, if you can wait a few more months till winter time, after Thanksgiving, the market is usually the slowest during that time, and you can possibly get a home at a really good deal. If you guys have any questions about the Bay Area market and you're looking for a home in the area, you can reach out to me and schedule a call with me down with the link in the description below. I'm also a hard money lender, so if you're looking to flip a home here in the Bay Area or elsewhere in the country, then you can also reach out to me as well. Let me know how you guys enjoy this video and let me know your thoughts about the Bay Area market in general. If you guys enjoyed this video, do me a quick favor and smash the like button to let YouTube know that you guys enjoy videos just like this one. It'll help out this channel and help my video get spread to more viewers. And if you guys haven't already, please consider subscribing to see more videos just like this one. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time. Take care.